I suppose it's time now we can get started. If
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone joins, they will join. Otherwise,
Yeah, it's already 2 minutes. Yeah, I think.
I think we start.
Yeah.
So if somebody else, great.
Sorry?
Somebody else has joined. Hello. So welcome.
I'm new to this. Thank you.
Okay, that's great.
I just found out about this group on Meetup like the past week, so I want to check it out.
Right, great. So yeah, welcome, and it's basically the two of, the one who organizes this, and Krishnan has been attending since the beginning. So we just generally program on work on data science challenges and things like that. So far, it has been general Python programming, and now we are trying to get more into data science. So the way it works is we do not have like a fixed agenda of that we're going to do this. It's driven by your requirements. So if you have a requirement, you're welcome to like bring to us and we can think of solving it. If not, we randomly go on like a site like Kaggle and pick a challenge and work on it. So we picked a challenge which I believe was hotel booking demand, just a data set. So just like to sort of analyze it and see what we can do with it and things like that. So we started with this in the previous one and we will keep going. So it's generally free running. There is no beginning, there is no end. This happens every Thursday as long as I'm in town. So this is just a brief introduction. So I'm not sure if you want to just tell us a little about yourself, you're welcome to. And what is it that you would like from this group so that we have an idea of what it is that you want out of this group, or rather would like to learn?
Yeah, so I have a background in high-level programming languages like C++ and Java, but I want to Python, especially in the domain of data science and big data domain. So by joining this group, I was hoping that I can get more proficient with writing Python code with some real projects, I guess.
Right. So where are you located?
I'm in Canada.
Oh, okay, great.
I'm on the east coast of Canada.
Okay, so like where exactly?
Montreal.
Oh, okay, fine. I was living in Montreal maybe like a year back. So I moved to Germany, now I'm in Germany. So, okay, great to know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just a brief introduction. So it's like now it is time. So I guess the way it works is, do you have anything in mind that you want to solve? Because right now, if you want, we would get started with the Kaggle dataset. So what we could do is, I could invite Krishnan to just share a screen, and we can just go on Kaggle and you can just check out Kaggle. Are you familiar with Kaggle?
No, not at all.
Okay, so it's like this. Okay, maybe I will just share my screen once. So so that.
Shiva, one more thing I realized that one of the problems that we discussed last time was that it was difficult to share the Jupyter notebooks that we use.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I thought was perhaps we can use the Kaggle Jupyter notebooks that are available. Like every data set, you can actually create a kernel on that data set. And perhaps, I don't know how it works, but because I know that we can solve competition as a group. We can put a group together and solve in a competition data science projects or machine learning project that comes up in Kaggle. So perhaps we can at least create a semi-public Jupyter notebook and share it among ourselves, so that right now what I have done is I have to share it through an IPython I mean, I have to share it through some mechanism, and I don't have a mechanism to share it with anybody because unless, of course, I send it to you and you send it to everybody.
That is true. That is
mean,
true.
because this way you don't like join Howdy. I mean, like Darius doesn't have to do anything specific to make it easy for us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to anything. We can just go on Kaggle and check it out also. So that's not a problem. So just like, I'll just take like a couple of minutes just to go on Kaggle.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So just to show you what Kaggle is, this is kaggle.com. And this is like...
Just wanted to, I mean, I wanted to tell that before.
Yeah, so this is kaggle.com. So like, just like you can, this is the place. It's probably one of the most popular places for data science projects. So there is like several competitions. There are data sets that you can people just put up and you can look through. So like, for example, there are several data sets. So we just picked up one data set in random. That is like hotel booking demand. So we just picked up this data set just randomly, and we were trying to figure out like what we could do with this data set. So right now we are kind of analyzing this. So what I would say is, if you're new to this, check it out. You can register for free, and when you register, you can kind of download these data sets. So this is I would say a great way to kind of get an idea of what are the data sets there. You can just download some of them, and maybe even if depending upon your particular domain, you can actually look for data sets in that particular domain and just browse what's there. So
okay, cool,
great. So for now, I would say that the way it goes is, since you're absolutely new, I would say you could, if you want, you can get started, or what I would say is you can, again, I will share my screen again quickly. I have a YouTube channel. So you can just go on YouTube. And you can search for Python Power Electronics. Right? So this is my YouTube channel. And in this channel, if you go to playlists, there is a Learn Python online playlist. So this has pretty much every recording of each and every one of the sessions we've had so far. So you can just check out any of the sessions before to know what happens.
This is, I think, this is Learn Power.
Oh, sorry, this is the wrong one. Learn Python webinar series. So you see, the Learn Python webinar series actually is also an extension of a previous webinar series that I had when the COVID lockdown was there. So this also has some basics of NumPy, plotting, pandas, everything, right? And also the recordings of the sessions we've had so far in this webinar series. So you can just check this out to get a brief background on Python if you're totally new to Python, and Anaconda, how to install everything else. So this, if you can check this out before the next.
I wouldn't say I'm completely new. I mean, I've dig through the literature into looking at like the data structure and the types that are offered in Python and so on. But I mean, theoretically, I have a good idea of the syntax, but I want to get familiar myself with actually coding something in a real project. So I get a more, I would say, idiomatic context of the language instead of all like theory in my head.
Sure. So you can just check this out because we've done another challenge. There was another challenge before which I did, which is video game set challenge.
Right.
So in that,
I looked it up. I looked up your channel, so I saw this. If I go to playlist, I should find one playlist called Learn Python Webinar Series.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So that would be a good tutorial to go through, I guess.
Yeah.
In fact, in the current series, at the start we did a very basic problem. Highly divisible. What is that?
Highly divisible triangle numbers. Yeah, it's like just again a random problem that I just picked out of Project Euler. So just to get started, I had to pick these out, but eventually I would like it that people come with their own requirements, because the idea here is to help people use Python to solve their own domain challenges.
And if we cannot, as we said, we can.
Yeah.
In fact, it will be a nice thing if we, in another 2 months time from now, we can all put together a team in Kaggle and enter the competition.
Yeah, that's essentially the idea behind this entire group, that people kind of meet, people kind of collaborate. So all this is welcome. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, you can just get started and you can get a flavor of what we do here.
Yeah. So, what are we supposed to do with that hotel booking data set?
Yeah, so that's the thing. So, I guess now Krishnan, you can get started with sharing and we'll tell you about what we did. So we just basically chalked out a challenge last time that we would like to know. I think I forgot what the challenge was. So maybe we can just refresh ourselves a little.
Yeah. I will just a moment. I'm just sharing. Do you see the page?
Not yet. We see. Yeah.
Yeah. No, what I did was this is my current Audi page. So I just
Okay.
So, do you see
Yep.
my Jupyter notebook?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I tried a few things after that. Maybe we quickly run through what we did, and we can also see what we can do. So I'm for Sam. I'm assuming that you know what Jupyter notebooks are.
Okay. Well, I have a not the web-based version, but I have downloaded a version of like a desktop version of Jupyter. Yeah. And to me,
technically,
like my superficial understanding of it is just an IDE, I guess.
Shiva, you can give
it's like there's several ways of doing it. One, you have some sites which actually let you access Jupyter Notebook, like Google Colab Sheets and things like that. You can also download and install it on your computer, and you have the option of opening it in a web browser. So it's like an interactive Python shell, so where you can run Python commands and actually see their output immediately, and you can even write like little blocks of code. So this is a great way to kind of do exploratory data analysis, especially when you are just exploring data and you are not trying to actually solve it to a particular agenda or a goal. So what we use is each of it has a cell, and you can write Python commands in these cells. So basically it accepts any valid Python command and you can execute it. So we import modules like pandas, we import modules like NumPy, and we read the CSV file. So that next one is a read of CSV file. So that is a data frame. So what we get is a data frame, which is what you see below, right? So a data frame is like,
I see.
Data can be available in several forms, like it can be available in a comma separated value file, it can be available in an Excel sheet, or even in a SQL dump file. So pandas can read a lot of them, CSV almost completely, and the others with some limitations, but it can read almost many different types to some extent or the other, right? So essentially, if you look, this looks pretty much like an Excel sheet, but it's just a custom Python object. So if you can keep scrolling, we can just see some of the things we did. So pandas has several built-in things. Yeah, you can go ahead, Krishna. Maybe you can talk a little instead of me just talking all the time.
Yeah, I mean, all what is happening. So it's all yeah. So the idea for this, the hotel booking data set that we will analyze using some of the pandas, right? And in this case, I think I got cut off for a moment.
No, I think we have some bandwidth issues because almost all of us have very few bars.
Yeah, because mine is going. I thought my problem is with my internet because I use only mobile internet at home, but it's usually better than the Wi-Fi.
I see.
Yeah, but it has never been a problem. That's why I kept it in audio mode so that it's easy.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll see. Let's. I will. So the idea was we decided to use we use pandas and NumPy to do some of these analysis. So this is the way we read the. Show you what is the type of DF is. So DF is a pandas data frame, and we can actually have a quick overview of what is there in this DF by doing this head, which will print the first 5 elements. Not everything. For example, you have dot saying that there are too many things which cannot be shown. But technically, you can get a brief overview of data frame by using commands like head and tail. And then we're looking at the columns, and we have some specific interest. So the idea of this, we looked at the entire data set columns during our session. So each one of these is well explained in the Kaggle page, and we can have a look at it. So our idea was that to see which of these columns are useful for any question that we may want to answer from the data set. So in fact, Shiva, I just did a little bit different thing. I'll just go through another. I'm just showing another Jupyter notebook. I mean, I said that there are 2 ways we can look at this data. One is we can either look at it from the perspective of hotel industry, the person, a small group of people who are there, who are managing the hotel industry, from where we have the data, or we can do it from the perspective of the user, you and me, who wants to hotel.
Yeah.
So from the perspective of the hotel industry, you can actually target audience for advertising discounts, so that the person who will be attracted to come and visit will also be the one who spends the money during the stay. Whereas from the perspective of the user, we can say we want to minimize the money we spend, depending. So, or it can be a tool which suggests the user, okay, I have these requirements. When and when should I go for a vacation, and how long or whatever, depending upon some constraints that we give, it should be able to suggest. So to start with, we will do some basic analysis of this whole data. I did a little bit for the first part, and because we were going to continue, we will be doing the analysis mostly for the second part. From the perspective of the user, what can we do? Like, can we do the analysis of the data and see which part of data is useful, and what sort of analysis and how we should build the model. So for that, I'll go back to the first Python output. So we looked at, so I'm assuming that again, Sam knows what exactly, let's say, what is the theoretical description behind describe, for example. It describes you something about what the numerical data. Typically, it's only the numerical data. It gives you an idea. For instance, how many count, what is the mean of the data, standard deviation, minimum, maximum values, etc. So here is cancelled. It's just a categorical variable where only 0 or 1. And it says that 75% of it is 1, which I think means it is not cancelled. I mean, I don't know exactly what each data hold means, but yeah. So essentially, we have some information, like here arrival date here is 2016-15. These are only 3 years possible. So, but of course, it considers it as a real variable and then gives you some description of that data over. So, and then what we did was we had a look at the data types of the data frame, whatever we have called to. So it can be either integer or a float or an object. The object here, for instance, country is an object, which is essentially, I think, the name of the country is used. Three letters or 2 letters for each country is used. So I think just to see. So it has names such as PRT, most likely I think it's Portugal, GBR is Great Britain, Belgium, France, Scotland, things like that.
Yeah.
So you can, it's value count. So what is the one which tells you only those specific variables that are
unique,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I didn't specify I used it as a, so the unique method, right? It's called a method for the data frame. It tells you what all different possible country names are there. So yeah. So with this, what we did was then we tried to analyze what is columns in the data frames mean, like with mean. So we looked at what is there and yield by special. It's not really clear for us what is that useful or. So similarly, we had a look at all the. Sorry, again I got cut off.
Yeah.
Am I back?
Yeah. I think we're back. It's just little breaks.
So Yeah. I mean, it went into a reconnecting mode. I was like, okay, so the second is done. So what we have is that um, you we decided that after analyzing the different columns that are there, we decided that these are the variables that are of interest to us. So what I will do is just show what the columns are. Say. So instead of df columns, there are so many of these different columns, and we chose only these to be relevant to our analysis. So we spent time to analyze it because we went to Kaggle and analyzed the data to come up with this, and then and we see that this ADR seems to be the key variable, because this is the one kind of says how much money does a person spend per day, and this will be the kind of cost for us to deal with. So I think this is where we were.
Yeah.
We kind of stopped here, and we ran out of time. So I started doing something again. It was not really. I was having different ideas and different questions. So I tried to answer those questions, because at the end of it, we'll have to understand which of these data is meaningful for us to construct, say, a machine learning model, or a recommendation system which will tell me, given a certain set of constraints, when or where or which type of hotel should I book.
Right. Yeah, so I think this is that was the challenge. If you see the question number 1, if you want to book the cheapest city hotel, resort hotel, when is the best time to book? And this is just like a vague challenge that we came up with. So we said that if this is what we want to do, how do we go about with this data frame? So basically we just limited, we just kind of scraped it. We said these few columns seem the most relevant that we should pick out. The rest are are not actually directly relevant to the cheapest. We could of course be wrong, we might have to go back, but we have to start somewhere. So with this we just narrowed down on our data frame, and this is what we have.
Yeah, that's a very clear and nice and short objective.
Yeah, so that's it. I mean, like I said, it's like we are not totally sure. It's like you can go to some extent with just pure data analysis, beyond which after that you will need machine learning, you may need other things, you may need like a recommender system and things like that. But there is some level to which you can go with just simple pandas data analysis. So let's see how far we can go.
So what I started trying to do was let me just, because this is something I did sometime back. I switched to do. So one of the interesting thing I found out is that in the data frame we only have stay in weeknights and stay in weekend nights. So it was not clear whether it's very likely that it's just that we'll have to add them up so that the total number of days the person stayed is also there as part of the column, because sometimes weeknight separation is useful, but sometimes we might just find out how much money that person spent by just doing this multiplication, the number of days that each individual stayed, which is the sum, and then multiplied by the ADR. So I try to see if it makes sense. Though I would say the thing is there are some negative values, most likely because somebody cancelled it and they did not turn up. because that goes into the negative value.
Mhm.
But this is something I was trying to do because I think I added one more this as a extra. Just a second. I'll see if I added as a separate. Added. Really good. Yeah. So okay. This is one point. I think I added it, but I don't know.
Okay, you are plotting the
Okay.
arrival date of the month and the total ADR,
Yeah.
but you're plotting it as a scatter plot.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. I think I got kicked out for a moment, but I think it's fine. Now I'm back. Yeah. You are right. I have this. I just wanted to see what month of the year it is.
Mhm.
Okay. So there is a problem because there is one data point which is completely out of bounds. It's like 5,000 something.
Mhm.
And it's just making the entire other part of data look weird. So what I tried to do was I think I removed that data.
So first is when you are plotting time-bound data, like for example, there is.
So again you see so okay. Before that
Yeah, so like for example, if you see when you're plotting time-bound data like this, for example, when the x-axis is the time or month or day or something like that, it doesn't make much sense using a scatter plot. The sensible thing to do is just use a bar plot so that you have them as bars. So that you can kind of, then you will see, because then what will happen is March will be really high because you will have that one outlier. Because here what happens is there is a scatter plot. So for example, it plots each and every data point as a scatter. And as and how you get more density, you end up with what do you call clusters which are more dense. But that doesn't really make much sense when you have time-bound plots because you will not see clusters that are dense. You'll just see lines like this. So when you have time-bound data, it is best just to plot it as a bar plot.
Okay, so what is that? Just a second. Oh, okay. Brought in often in the because I lost a couple of times while you were talking.
Okay.
So I kicked out. I don't know what is happening. And it doesn't seem to be my
so you see there's x height. So basically x will be the time, height is your
so
ADR.
You mean this is what you want to?
Yeah, this would mean this would be a more, I would say, more appropriate plot for something which is time bound. So for example, let's say for example you are plotting ADR with another numerical quantity. Let's say refunds. Okay, you're plotting how much a person spends versus how much he gets a refund, something like that. So they're two numerical quantities. So now what happens is it looks for dots with respect to these two quantities. And you will now see patterns that are dense and some patterns that are light. And that's when a scatter plot helps, because when you do that, you see clusters in your data.
Does it take time, that plot?
I can't say actually. Another thing which you can look into if you want to plot, another thing you can look into is you can check out Seaborn. Seaborn has much better.
Okay, I think I had Seaborn in there. Do you know how to?
Actually, you have to go, kernel, and you have to just say, no, you have to try. I hope it doesn't break it completely.
Because that's the problem, because if then I have to run everything. So
yeah.
I don't know if it's due to state or it doesn't look like it. Okay, so maybe I'll go to another where it is all there.
I think I think I see what the problem is. You know what the problem is? It is plotting each and every data point with respect to the address, the ADA, not the address, whatever is the amount of price, the amount of money spent. What we first have to do before you do this is you must first group by the arrival date and then sum up the ADR column. So then what happens is it will be a much more condensed plot.
Okay, yes. So
I think you can just try stopping that button. I don't know if it will help.
Yeah,
okay.
I think
yeah, that's great. So what I would say is I would defer plotting for now, because I would say look into plotting, which is a little later. I would say that because plotting, honestly speaking, I don't do much plotting also.
Okay. Okay. I'm back. So sorry, you said something?
No, I would say that we can defer plotting for now, because I would say that actually you probably need to go to the next one. Okay, that's also stopped. So
sorry.
What I would say is I would like to look at something else like basic querying or even group by, right? Because like I said, one of the things which is actually a very powerful thing is group by. So for example, to make any sense out of this ADR method, what I would, not the ADR, to be able to plot a bar plot, what I would say is let us do a group by. So for example, if you can show me just df new, the head of it. So you see, df new, the head, we have the arrival date, right? And we have the ADR, right? So now, supposing we collect just these two together in a separate data frame, just a temporary data frame, you can call it df1 or whatever you want. Yeah, anything you want. And we just pick out those two columns. So you'll have to put another list exactly and just.
I would actually, week number is actually a better measure probably, because week number is a number. And
no, the problem with that is then you will have too many data points. The first I would say, actually you can collect them all for now. Just collect them all.
Yeah, okay.
And then we can kind of
rename them, because I have done that, but anyway. So I'll just do this.
And if you can check that out. Actually, just do the head. The best is the head.
Sorry?
Just head, yeah. So we have just these two, right? So now what is a very convenient way to do is, for example, what is called the group by. So for example, if you use df date at address, if you start typing that, you can just do tab actually to complete, yeah, and then say group by. So gr complete by, and then it's a function, so you'll have to open parentheses, and you can say by is equal to, no, actually write by is equal to, and arrival date month. So that is again in string because you're specifying a column name. So if you do this, now you will get a group by object. You can just do it and I'll tell you what you get. And you can actually assign it. So you see, you get this, which is a group by object. So what a group by does is it groups all these arrival dates, right? It takes unique values. So since it's the month, you'll have 12 unique values. It'll collect all the rows according to the unique values and bundle them together, group them together, right? So which is why the result is a group by object, because all it does is group them together, right? Now, to actually result in a numerical data frame, you need to add what is called as an aggregator function, right? So for example, in this case, you would like to find, let's say in July, right? You would like to find out for July, you would like to find out the sum, the total sum of all the ADRs, or rather all the expenditure that happened in July, right? So what you can do is you can put a sum and a parenthesis at the end and say this is your aggregator function. So now you see this is your new group by, the one below is your now. Now what it has done is it has aggregated, that has taken the unique months together, which is of course the 12 unique months, and it has summed up your ADR for each month. Then this way you can change your aggregator function to anything else. You can put mean, you can put min, you can put max, you can put anything. Now that you have this, you can now try to put a plot, you can repeat the bar plot now with this and try to see what you get. This should be a much easier bar plot. I would say run a new command so that you don't lose it, because then you lose that particular command. So you can just run a new cell.
Okay, so then I will probably have to save this somewhere, right?
Yeah, I'd probably save it as another object. So you can just call it another, basically it's another data frame. So you can just call it another data frame.
And then I say, so it's a data frame, right?
Yeah. So you can plot like,
So I just want to see what is the name of.
You should use tab, by the way. Don't type everything. You should
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just ADR is the column. Right?
Yeah. So basically, it has an index and a column. So you can use the X as the index.
Okay. So this will be the index.
Exactly.
X. So df date ADR.
Yeah, always use tab because it's like so much more convenient.
No, but sometimes with the functions it's a little too slow.
Ah.
For instance, for me to type df.mean or sum, it takes more time than me typing. So
Okay.
for the existing variables, you are right.
Yeah.
Just for the functions, it has to, I don't know, maybe it has to go to some other place. I mean, it has to retrieve it from a slightly longer memory.
No, actually, then what it does is it goes into the dir object variable of every object. Say every Python object, you can look at all the member methods and attributes by writing dir, and I think that's what it does. So it then gets a list of all the available methods and attributes, and then sort of you can choose it. So which is why it's probably a little longer, because it gets everything that's there.
Yes. And then for this, we'll have to.
You can just put ADR. So you can just put that and put ADR.
Is this one?
Yeah. So this is like, you saw how fast it was. So you can style it if you want and things like that. But this gives you an idea of.
You can stretch it a bit, I think.
Yeah. So you can just insert another figure before that, and you can just say PLT figure and fig size is equal to something. So I can just show you that command. Before that, you can add another cell. So you say PLT.figure, and this is a function. So you have to open again a function. So it's like, and then inside it you say fig size again. Actually, just a minute. Fig size is equal to, no, fig, not fig size. Fig size is equal to, and in parentheses you can specify two coordinates. So it's like the width and the height in parentheses. So you, so like 10, 8 or whatever. This is in inches.
Inches, okay.
So you press that, and then after that you'll have to run your other function again. So you'll have to run the bar function.
Then try it.
Yeah. Why didn't it do?
Okay.
Okay, put that inside this. So run them both together. So copy that plt.figure inside the same cell.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so this is now a little easier to read, I guess.
Yeah, we can increase it, like it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So 10, I think we increased the height a lot. We need more width, I think. So if I do 8, 10.
Actually, it's the other way around usually. So you can actually make it like 12, 8 or something.
5, yeah. Okay, this is perfect. But yeah, it has put it in alphabetical order: April, August, and
yeah. Actually, if you want to solve this, what you can do is you can sort of create another column with the month number, equate this to another month number, and then you can kind of plot it accordingly.
I think I've done.
Okay, yeah. So that's like it, yeah.
Yeah, I've done that here. I will just so I did that because I was trying to do something. I'll just have a look at it.
Have we lost you?
So I'm going to just do this more because the code. Okay.
So the main thing is, if you want to do this, I would say it is this what you've done is a very manual way to do it. What I would suggest is a simpler way to do this would be just to create like a dictionary. So just create a dictionary, assigning each and every each and every month a number. So like for example, like January 1, February 2, and so on and so forth. Then what you should do is you just have to write a function and apply it to your data frame, as such that for it will iterate through every row, it will create another column for that particular row. So are you familiar with writing functions? So we can actually do that as well if you want, if you like.
Sorry.
I think we lost you.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Like in the last minute, I got lost 3 times. 4 times. Yeah. Okay. So, you suggest I create a dictionary, right?
Right. Again,
I mean, how we do it?
Yeah, that's it. A quick discussion.
Yeah.
So I mean, this actually,
actually
you can do this. Another way also, actually, again, it's just quick things. Like for example, you can actually create 2 lists. So all you need is one list of the months in order, and the other is just a range object from 1 to 13, and just make that a list.
1 to 10, 1 to 12.
Because 1 to 13, because it won't stop at, it will stop at 12. And then you just zip them to form like each way a dictionary.
Yeah, so I will just see arrival date, month, and say unique.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This will be, I can put a list of this, I will convert this into a list.
You could. The only problem here again is will be in a random format. So you could, this is okay. So you can kind of extract what you can. Yeah, so what you can do is, this is one way. So you can kind of assign it to a list. So you can just put it X or months or whatever is equal to. And then according to, you can just quickly also write another list. So like for example, call it month number. So you just have to again the next, just check what is your month name. So you have to check what is your month name. So again, yeah. And then just month number, assign it according. So it's like July would be 7, August 8.
Okay.
Yeah. So now that you have this, you can use the zip. Yeah, you can dict. Yeah, exactly. Is equal to, you can just say dict, and actually you have to first call dict and then zip and these two together. So zip, and there'll be like month name and month number, comma month number. So just check out what is it. Yeah, so this is like way more convenient than actually writing it all down.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
So now that we have this, what you can do, we are almost out of time, so I'll just maybe give you, so what is it is, just open another cell. Now, I wanted to show you this before. First, for example, how do you run a function on your cell? So for example, if you just show me the data frame again, the one that we actually created, the newly sorted. No, actually, this is actually the mean one, because that is the one that
you want the.
Yeah, the group by, the final one which you just did. You can just. Yeah. So if you now see, your index is your arrival date, right? So what you can do is, you can create another column. All right. So you can just say df date address mean, put a column, say month is equal to index. Is equal to, no, I mean not index, but the data frame index. So now if you check out the data frame, you will see another column. You see, it is the month. So now what you can do is, you can now apply a function to this particular data frame, right? So what you can do, okay, just open another cell and tell you what that is. So you can use the apply method. So basically you just say df apply, df.mean apply, and here you can apply it to a particular column. So here you can actually choose the column after the data frame. So you can say month. So basically df, not apply month, but after df date address mean, you can put a square bracket and put the month. So you are applying it specifically to a particular column. There is a little trick towards applying it to a data frame, which is why I don't want to do that right now. We don't have much time. And now you can apply a function. So what you can do, above this, you can write a function. So just above this, in the same thing cell, you can just define you can do it in the same cell as well, or you can do a different cell. You can define a function. So you can say define, here you can give it any function name. So you're basically convert month to number, something like that, or whatever you want. And here you take a variable argument x. This is the column that you're getting. So to begin with, you can just print it out. Just print x and see what you get. And you can, in the apply method, you can call this particular function, that is convert month number. So
I just do this.
Yeah, so you see what it has done. It has applied this function, right, to the column, and it iterates through every row of the column, applies the function. All you're doing now is printing the number, right? So now what we can do, we can go one step further and we can now return a new column. So what you can see is, now we can use our this dictionary, and for that particular month we return a number.
Okay. So return and then we
put that, and again it will be in brackets because you are accessing a key of a dictionary.
So no, it will be just x.
Just x, because that's a string and you have to close. Yeah. So if you do this, you have to execute that function. Yeah. So now it is giving you back a series. What you can do is, you can now create another, you can, to that 219 row, you can assign the result of this to another column. So you can call this df date address mean, that is the same data frame, and assign it to month number or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So now if you check out the data frame, you will see this new one. So you can now use the same bar plot and replace your x with this month.
Okay.
And first, actually, you can sort it, because now there is a possibility to sort it. So you can first, if you want, you can sort it and then you can plot it. But first you can plot it. I think we are running out of time, so you can just plot it once. I can show you sorting next time, because there's a lot of other little tricks which I would like to show you, things like group by, sorting, and things like that. So anyway, you can plot it once, you can see what you get, and then we can do it.
This time
Again, it has to be the actual column, that won't work. You have to put the data frame and you have to specify the column.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. One side I did it. Okay. So, it's clear.
Actually, I think you're frozen. We're waiting for it to come back. But yeah. Okay, great. So here the reason why I wanted to say this is sometimes this, when you have numerical data, it'll automatically sort it for you, which is what it has done. So you can automatically see that the cluster is in the middle of the year, which is when it is summer.
Yeah. Nearly the amount of money spent is nearly 2.5 times that.
Exactly. Though it'll be interesting to know what happens in Christmas and New Year time. So there we can actually use the week.
It looks like nobody. Yeah.
Because it may be that the entire December is dead and then there is one spike on that last week. That's possible.
Yeah. But many people just go for go home. So may not be hotel because it's hotel booking maybe. But we will have to see.
Yeah.
We can see that. Next time.
Okay, cool. So I think it's almost, we're running out of time. So I mean, since we are here, I would just like to ask the other two. I mean, just one other person who's joined. But this is what we usually do in these sessions. So if you would like to talk or if you would like to say anything, welcome to do so.
Hello everyone.
Hi.
Sorry. Actually, I have joined this session for the first time, so I was trying to learn what's going on.
Yeah.
So I will try to join the next session on time. I was a bit late today.
Yeah, so like I said, I don't know if you are aware of this, but there is this, and all these are recorded and uploaded to the YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
So
then I can get the videos from there.
Exactly. So I'm not sure are you familiar with the YouTube channel?
Yeah, I know the YouTube platform, but I don't know about the channel.
Okay, so I can
get this video.
I can just quickly share my screen and I will show it to you.
Yeah, sure.
So this is, when you go to YouTube, you need to Google for Python Power Electronics.
Okay.
So this is, I'll just keep going back. So this, if you just go to Google and you just go to Google Python Power Electronics, this Python Power Electronics is my special channel. Now this is mainly an electrical engineering channel, so a lot of these will be on electrical engineering, but I also do Python. So there is, if you go to playlists, there is a playlist called Learn Python Webinar Series. So if you check out this, you'll see that there are several videos, because I also did this webinar during the COVID lockdown and I'm also continuing now. So most of these before are in the COVID lockdown. The last few are recordings in this particular session, which I've been going for the past 4 weeks or so.
Okay.
So you can check this out, and this will give you a background on also how to install software and some basics if you are not totally familiar. If you are familiar, then you can just start watching the latest videos.
Okay. Thank you so much. I will follow these videos.
Sure. Okay, so that's it. So other than that, if anything else is needed, otherwise we're pretty much done. So there is no agenda for this. We just pick out challenges and solve them. So we are currently working on the hotel booking dataset, but you're always welcome to bring something else and we can solve it as a challenge. Whoever wants to solve anything, we just go on a round robin and spend some time with anyone. So that's it.
Okay, thank you.
So again, any closing remarks or anything?
No.
Okay, so guys, thank you so much for coming. See you next week, next Thursday, same time, 6 p.m. Germany time. I don't know where you are. So
Okay.
Bye everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.